Ali, why you not on Netflix? Because I don't want $200,000 for a special. What you want, $200,000? Or you want $1.5 million? Or you want $2.3 million?
Ali Siddiq.
Ali Siddiq.
Ali Siddiq.
Internet's most popular comedian. He has one of the most watched comedy specials ever on YouTube. The New York Times called him the comedy's best storyteller.
Your first open mic night in 1997. I read that you were heckled at that.
I got booed. I wasn't no heckling. I got booed. so to speak. I get so offended when people call me a comedian. I have transcended those titles. I don't do bits. I do stories.
Bitch, get out of here.
You go, I get sentenced to 15 years. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, damn, my mom lost all of her kids in the same year.
I abandoned my mom at the worst time in life. Lost my sister. My older sister is in the Navy, and then she lose her son to prison.
Have you forgiven yourself for that?
Hell no.
Okay, today's guest is Ali Siddiq, one of the most legendary comedians on the planet. This conversation surprised me. I knew I would laugh. I knew I'd be entertained. What I did not expect is the weight and the emotion that Ali brings. I'm telling you, you could feel it in the room, the regret, as he sat there and told me that he will never forgive himself for the pain he caused his mom. And so to give you the context, Ali had a good upbringing, but at the age of 14, he gets caught up in the streets during the peak of the crack cocaine era. He even tells me in the episode that after a few years of hustling, he has over $230,000, but then it all comes crashing down. He gets busted and sentenced to 15 years in prison, and in that moment, everything shifts. He hit rock bottom. His family hit rock bottom. His mum hit rock bottom. And so if you are someone that has made a mistake, a decision that you regret or wish that you could take back, Ali's story will speak to you. One, because of the wisdom that he shares, and two, and even more importantly, Ali is able to turn that pain, that hurt, that regret into one of the most iconic, successful careers in comedy. So sit back, get a good drink, soak it all in. You're listening to The Callum Johnson Show. Let's get into it. The last chapter in your book is titled Mum and Dad.
Yeah.
And as soon as I read that chapter, I was like, we have to start here. And in particular, one thing you said in that chapter, you go, accepting timely wisdom from my mother could have saved me from a path of destruction. She told me, son, I see the direction you're taking in your life, and I just want to let you know the streets are undefeated. They always win. And so I wanted to start right there, and maybe you can just take us back in time for a moment. What is the context? What are the events that we would have to be aware of to understand, why does your mum say that to you? The streets are undefeated. They always win.
Simple as where I was hanging out. I was spending a lot of time in the streets, with different characters, I would say, versus the people who my mom would have preferred me to hang with, and really away from my family. And that's a major thing. When you start drawing away from family, something is always up. Whether you're in a relationship and you drawing away from your family, whether you're in a friendship, you're drawing away from your family, you're spending more time. The streets was anything outside of my mom's door, you know what I'm saying, or my uncle's door or my aunt's door. So when she started seeing that I was like hanging out late, and with the wrong crowd of people that wasn't in the direction that I actually was saying that I wanted to go at that time. I was going somewhere, I wanted to be a chef. So, but then I just started cooking the wrong thing, so to speak. So, I think that was what my mom saw. And she was trying to explain to me, son, no matter what you do and what they saying, the streets are going to win. And whether that's with you being laying dead in the streets, whether you get arrested, you know, whether you get hurt real bad. And I always think back on those times when things get a little tough in this journey of being along the right path, you know what I'm saying? So in the right path, a lot of people quit because things get hard. Like I say, businesses don't fail. Entrepreneurs give up. And so the thing about that, it doesn't matter what somebody throws at me in this lane of entertainment that I'm in, or this lane of business that I'm in, because of what was thrown at me when I was in the streets and I didn't quit. You know, I kind of think of that. So I'm in the streets, you know, I get stabbed, I get shot at. You're supposed to kind of quit, right? Then you don't quit. Then you get hit in the eye where you had to have eye surgery. Don't quit. You get thrown in a trunk and robbed. Don't quit. You know, you get in multiple altercations with people. Don't quit. So in something that you really not supposed to be doing is not positive, you didn't give up. You just constantly, whatever obstacle came, you just went through it. But then when you get something positive, people find the smallest things to give up on when you getting, you know, doing something positive. Like even in school, oh, I got too much work. Well, the streets is a lot of work too. You know, it's everything has its path. And if you want to achieve that goal, you can't think that it's going to be easy. You have to go through the steps of it. You know, if you go through the steps negative, then you should be able to go through the steps positive.
Yeah. You know what, even as I listen to you, because hindsight is like a wonderful thing. And it's funny because I was watching an interview that you did, and you even mentioned you're like there's way easier things than being a drug dealer or like a pharmaceutical sales rep. You call it
pharmaceutical rep. Yeah,
you're like I could have gone hooping. I could have done. There was way easier things.
Yeah.
But you know what? I thought the word choice in that quote from the book that I read out was like interesting to me, because you said my mother could have saved me from a path of destruction. It's like, it's real life and death. And so I guess for you, looking back with the value of hindsight, are there moments that you see as like, those were the early signs that at that point in time you were on a path of destruction?
Yeah, even with that destruction thing, is two folds to that. So giving up my childhood, so to speak, she was trying to avoid, trying to, curve me from doing that. Hey man, just be a kid. I didn't have to take care of my family. My mother had a job. We wasn't struggling, so the things that I wanted, my mom would have gotten me if they made sense. That was our whole thing. Things have to make sense, and that's how I am now. I got the money, but does it make sense? So that's a thing. But the other part of the destruction is, I think she was trying to ease my soul, my spirit, because this is how I can always tell when people, like, it's a lot of people say they was in the streets. I get it. That's the cliche thing to say. But it's clear signs to me as a real street cat that let me know if you was really in the streets. One, what you want for your kids. No street dude wants his kid to be street. Even if you go back to the Godfather didn't want Michael to be in the streets. Nobody that's been in the streets wants that for their children. Most of us that's been in the streets, our kids go to private school because we know the woes of public school. And then if you was really in the streets, where are your emotional scars? See, that's the whole other thing. My mom was trying to avoid me from having the nightmares and the painful thoughts of what was I doing to my community? How much of this is my fault? You know, the empathy for the destruction and the pain and all the families that, you know, that's crazy when you think about it, how many fathers and mothers that you destroyed along the way, which destroyed other people's childhood. So that's a whole nother thing. And then to be this subdued, like I usually don't talk a lot due to how much, you know, it take a lot of violence to be this peaceful. You know, and so I'm really secluded away from people a lot because I can't be around the pretenders. I can't be around the phony people. I can't, whether you being phony playing tough or whether you being phony being slick, you just gotta be genuine with me because I know and I can't be oppressed by nothing. Like trying to put me in a box. I don't do nothing that I don't want to do. And to try to stop me or impede my progress, I just be like, oh, okay. My mother would tell anybody, she's like, when people used to say, oh, I got into it with your son. Was he talking to you? Yeah, we was talking back and forth. Oh, he was playing. You don't have no problem with him until he not talking. Because now he's trying to figure out his move. But I don't want that for my son. You know, I love the fact that my son is a corny little dude, a corny little happy little dude. I love that for him. You know what I'm saying? And I used to do this story about I love looking at him because he's actually 10 and I've never been 10. I was that in age, but not in life. I was never 10. So I was never 12. I was never 13. I was never 14. And I was in the streets. And my mom was trying to curve that for me. So when I see her with her grandson, it's a look into the window of what she wanted to be with me. Like they really happy and goofy and fun loving, and I sit back and look at it and I smile because I'm envious of that. Mm-hmm. And those are the destructive things. It's not just about the outside, it's about the internal too. You know, so sometimes I don't relish in fun. I relish in protection and safety and the next move versus just enjoying the moment sometimes. So me being incarcerated only increased that. So I think my mom was really trying to save me from all of that hardening of the heart.
That hardening of the heart. You know what? It makes sense when you give that context why you said it was wisdom from your mother. Because it was experience. It was years. It was knowing. It was foresight. You know what? Because you get into the streets at the age of 14.
Yeah.
And there's this like 5-year period of your life. And I'm sure there's so many ups and downs within that period of time. Mm-hmm. But you were like, I don't even know how to describe it to people. You were like completely balling out. Like you had reached a level of success and seeing money that a lot of people won't experience in their whole lifetime. And there was this, I heard you say this, you said, I'm 17. Not only do I have the Monte Carlo, I have the drop top Jag, blue, with the rag. We have the Astro van. And then I went and bought a 533i BMW. these are my cars going to high school.
My favorite. That's still to this day. That's my favorite car. No tent on the window. Back then we didn't ride tent. We wanted you to see who was in there. 533 got champagne. You know what I'm saying? Peanut butter insides. It was a beautiful car.
You feel invincible at that point in time in your life?
Actually, I felt more like a target at that time, and I just couldn't stop being flashy. And because I didn't put, the car was enough, so I didn't put rims or nothing on it. It just how it came is how it came, and I still buy cars like that now. So I don't dress them up. I just buy them like they are. But that was a good time. I had this little short mink that was dope that I wore to homecoming. And I remember I just wanted to kind of just floss with my friends. But that was too grown. I was parking that car in the teacher section at the high school. And then walking down and coming back around acting like it wasn't my car. I couldn't let nobody see me get in it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was parking in the teacher section. But I was having a good time at that time. But it was also that fear of getting robbed, because the game had started shifting. First it was honor amongst thieves, and then it started like people like, there's no honor amongst thieves. Back then it was real honor amongst thieves. Like, because everybody's doing the same thing. We not bringing no other elements to it. And I remember the first time I was delivering something and dude had a gun. I was like, what you got a gun for? For me? Like I was confused by the whole thing. Like, where's there a gun in this whole process? I don't got no gun. But I'm not doing business with people that I don't know. I think the element of doing business with people that you don't know brings this other necessity to be safe and
protected
and all the rest of this stuff. But it's causing tension, because I already knew what I was at that time. I already really knew what I was capable of due to the difficulties that I'd had at 15, 16. So I kind of knew what I would do. And I never wanted to do anything, but Charles used to call me the sneaky assassin. Because I don't want to get caught, but I got to make this point be known why it's like this. And I don't think that came from selling drugs. I think that came from people deciding when I was little that you could pick on me. And they would, coming up, man, when I look back at it, I never had a fair fight. It was never one-on-one. It was always a group of people. Mm-hmm. Because I could box. So it's like, no, you don't want to stand in front of me by yourself, so you would go get a group of people. But I was always privy to hey, man, I'll give you the fair one. And when I knew that I was a little different, when I actually knew I was different, we live in these apartments. My mom came back in the house and she was rubbing her head. She had been down to the laundry. She was rubbing her head and it was cut a little bit. And I was like, hey, what's wrong with your head? And she was like, stupid ass man opened the dryer above her. She was at the bottom dryer and he opened the top dryer and didn't say nothing. She raised up and she bumped her head. I said, well, did he apologize? She said, no, he ain't say nothing. Oh, okay. And so I went in my room and I had this little Astroworld bat, like a little small Louisville Slugger. And I put it in my jacket and I walked out like I was going outside, to play or whatever. And I went to the laundry and old boy wasn't in there at first. So I was just outside, I'm waiting. He come back in to check on his clothes. I said, how long, I said, excuse me, how long had, you been with this drive? Oh, I've been in here for a minute. You want to use it? I said, nah. I said, but it was a lady that had her, she was putting her clothes down here, and you left the door open, and she bumped her head on the door. Oh, yeah, she should have watched what she was doing. And the savage beating that I put on that man in there with that bat. I'm a kid. But I knew then, hey man, I'm just really not for the nonsense. And that's not even courteous, man. So it was just blood all over the laundry room. The cops came to the house, and my whole mentality was, man, I don't care. Because of how he felt about it, that's how I feel about it too. You should have watched what you was doing. And I just didn't care. It's like, bro, you hurt my mom, and so it is what it is. And that probably comes from, and I think a lot of this comes from violence with men. I didn't realize it until I was talking to one of my friends, and he said, man, I'm like this because I was abused. I said, man, something? I never even correlated the two. I thought just my intensity was just that I didn't want people touching me. But my stepfather, man, he was savage towards me. And when I got old enough and strong enough, like, yo, you never put your hands on my mom again. You never put your hands on me. You'll never say nothing to my sister. Bro, man, you don't want them type problems, man. Like, you can come in here with that if you want to. But my mom has saved that man from meeting an early grave from the time I was 9. Because by the time I was 9, I was vulnerable at that time. Like, yo, what's up? We just gonna have to fight out. But what you're not gonna do is punish me like I'm some savage. Oh, but I get it. I'm not yours. You know what I'm saying? And whatever your lineage is with your father, that's not supposed to extend towards me. And I know it's not, because my oldest son, Trey, he's not my biological son. But I've been taking care of Trey since he was 5, even when me and his mom split. I still take care of Trey now. I've never abused Trey. Me and Trey has one altercation, that's in the boxing ring. He's already a fighter. He's already grown. So, this treat people how you want to be treated, man. Did you want to be abused? Then don't. All that old hurt people, man. I don't be wanting to hear that shit. Because if I'm hurt, then I know I shouldn't extend that to somebody else. Because I already know how I feel. I can acknowledge that it's not a comfortable position. So why would I put somebody up under this? Hurt people should understand not to hurt people. That should be the understanding. Versus hurt people. That's an excuse.
I heard you speak about this, and I was like, I have to bring it up to him, because even in the stories that you were telling about your mom and growing up and family, there's certain principles, and it's interesting because what you do for a living is comedy, right? It's entertainment, it's storytelling. But when I think comedy, I think about people laughing, and you're great at doing that. But then there's also a side to your personality and your story, which is very serious, right? Like, it's nothing to be laughed about at all. And some of those principles of like respect and a certain integrity level and accountability, doing things a certain way. And I think one of the ways that it really came through for me when I was reading about your story is actually before you ever went to prison, you actually wanted to get out of the streets and out of like drugs and that whole game. And there was something I heard you say. You said, this shit is for the birds. Like, what am I doing? Yeah. And then a few days after that, you end up in prison. Can you just share it with me? Like that whole, just share with people that chain, that sequence of events from like, you're literally about to step out of this thing to you're in prison facing 15 years. You know, one thing I've learned over the past few years is there's a big difference between putting money into the market and actually investing with intention. And so I started my investing journey dabbling. I would watch some videos, I would buy stocks that I heard about on CNBC, and then I'd call it a day. But as time went on, you hit that point where you want to take things more seriously. And that's when I made the switch to Public, the sponsor of today's episode. And Public is an investing platform built for people who take it seriously. That's because you can build a multi-asset portfolio on Public that includes stocks, crypto, bonds, options, all in one place. You can even earn a 3.6% APY on your cash with no subscriptions or minimums. And the thing that makes Public different is how AI is woven directly into the experience. From portfolio insights to earnings call recaps, their AI features give you clear context at every single touch point. And Public is a FINRA registered, SIPC insured, US based company with a great customer support team. And you can fund your account in 5 minutes or less at public.com/Callum. And right now you can earn an uncapped 1% match when you transfer your old portfolio, including IRA transfers, rollovers, even contributions. So that's public.com/Callum to get started. The link is in the description. Let's get back to the episode.
The course of events was I was tired. You know, I was over it. You know, I'm in college, I'm hanging out, I'm doing other things. That was the thing. It's a different world. You could be doing something else and living a positive life. Cause I don't have anybody that's in my family that's like that. On my mom's side, everybody is professionals. You know, and that's, my dad's a professional. His brothers are in the streets. My dad ain't in the streets like that. You know, my dad never sold crack. My dad, this is when he was selling powder. You know what I'm saying? But it was a rich man's situation. So when I'm hanging with the people I'm hanging out with, man, I got money, I got things, and I don't want to be out with this. I'm over this shit, man. Like, we did it, okay, cool. Because in my mind, how long are we supposed to do this? Like, what is the end goal? I didn't want to be one of these guys who was a career drug dealer. I didn't see no future in that. Man, I want to go to culinary school. I want to do something else. And then I get a call for yo, man, make this last run with me. I am literally out the game. I'm out. I hadn't sold nothing. I hadn't picked up nothing. I hadn't did nothing. Yo, make this last run with me. I just need you to watch my back. I don't trust nobody else. All right, man. I owe you that. And then they didn't listen. I called it the whole way. The whole way. Like, when they look back on it, when everybody's being honest, like, big up to my man Kevin that got busted with us. Kevin called me and said on the 21st, he's like, yo, happy anniversary. Glad you out. Because we all got the same arrest date. So they release you when they arrest you. Like, whatever day you got arrested on, that's when you get released too. You know what I'm saying? So we at this hotel, and I said, yo, it's 12 o'clock. Why ain't nobody checking out? When I went in to count the money, I asked to use the bathroom. They said, man, the bathroom's out of order. Why y'all in a hotel room with the bathroom out of order? When they gave me the money to look at, I asked what was the numbers on the money. They was like, oh, that's bank numbers from the Franklin Bank. Franklin Bank in New Orleans? I just got back from New Orleans. I ain't seen no Franklin Bank out there. But I don't know all of New Orleans, but I know 1301 Franklin is the county jail in Houston.
Sting.
So when I looked through the money, after I saw the numbers on the first bed, when I looked through the money, because I am a bona fide street dude since young, I do what our sign was. I just randomly just knocked on the table 3 times to let Mo know these are the feds. This is police. I slid them the money back. I walked outside and I said, yo, Mo, tell Charles don't come to this parking lot. Them the laws, bro. Man, how you know them laws? I said, did you not see me look at that money? So you came to buy 5 kilos of dope as a drug dealer for some other drug dealers, and you don't have no 5s, no 1s, no 20s, no 10s. You just got all 50s and 100s. Come on, man. I ain't the average bird, bro. I'm like, this is dumb. Mo, once again, is people. These are life lessons that I take with me, even in comedy. I don't deal with people who everything is about money. My manager tell anybody, you can't buy him. If he don't want to do it, he ain't gonna do it. He gonna turn it down. Because everything that is meant for me, I will get. I don't have to compromise myself for anything. That's what I did when I was young. Compromising myself, thinking I'm getting more. So now I'm out this business, and my last bit of freedom, I compromised to go somewhere that I said I was done with. If you say you done, you done. I don't need no closure. Closure was when I said I was done. But man, I just need you. Man, I should have said no. And then the whole way I'm telling y'all what this is. I'm here now. When Mo went down there and relayed a message that I didn't say. Because he's money hungry. He's thinking about his piece of what we about to make. Man, I don't need the, man, it's 5 bricks. Man, it's like $92,000. Man, I'm good. I got $84,000 in a trash bag and 1s and 5s in my girl house. I got money buried in my mom's house. I got bread. I'm straight. As a 19, I just turned 19. As a 19-year-old man in college, I don't need nothing. I'm straight. But compromising, man. Compromising yourself for a friend, which you shouldn't do. And then being around somebody who's money driven, which you shouldn't do. And that is those are the regrets that I look back on like, man, damn. Because I knew. I know this is not my type of person. Because with me, I'm free-handed. I'd rather somebody waste my time. Whether somebody wastes money than my time. I can make more money. Can't get no more time.
Yeah. You know, I heard you say on an interview, said at that time I was probably sitting on 230,000.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's like, I spoke about the value of hindsight. I'm curious, the Ali Siddiq that's sitting in front of me today, do you ever like just think back to that moment? Because like you said, like in your mind, you already done. And there's like this cruel irony in like the one last time. Oh, I'm going to do it one more time. You do the thing. And then that's the time when it all goes wrong. And so you sitting here today, is there ever a part of you that thinks like, man, if I hadn't gone that one last time.
Is it? What?
What would my life have been?
I'd be Ramsey Gordon right now.
Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah, I'd be a chef somewhere, man, living in some foreign country, you know, with a 6-pack. Being some sexy chef. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been doing my thing, you know? So my daughter is a chef. And I just support it and I applaud it because she's doing something that I wanted to do. You know, giving her that lane and that freedom. So, man, and I guess I'm not regretful of what I turned into at all. You know, this is what was laid for me. And now I'm in this realm of, man, I really get offended. It's crazy. This is the craziest thing. This is gonna sound extra crazy. And this is breaking news. I've not even said this publicly to anybody outside my friends. I get so offended when people call me a comedian. I get so offended when somebody say, hey, you know the bit that you did? What? Because in my mind, and not just in my mind, in my work, I think I have transcended those titles. I don't do bits. I do stories. And I do true stories. I don't, in the book, that transformation, if you think about it, Billy D. Washington, when you're not being funny, be interesting. Mm-hmm. That's different than a comedian. You know, so me being just on a different level of, and some people get it. It's comics that call me like, man, I'm a comedian. You're something different. You say, you should be offended if somebody puts you in any type of top 5. Like somebody said, man, is Ali in your top 5? He said, no, he's by himself.
One of one.
He is totally by himself. I never even knew that before me, there was no category of comics rating themselves, oh, I'm a storyteller. I've been doing 28 years. I had never heard of that. A storyteller, what that mean? I've heard of it. I heard of all the rest of it, but I had never heard that was the genre that you was under. You know, like I was like, oh, okay. What's your longest story? 6-7 minutes. Oh, okay. Oh, why are you saying like that? My shortest story is 37 minutes. The shortest one. I say, you see the difference? The shortest one is 37 minutes. The longest one is over 3 hours. Man, who tells a story for 3 hours? I said, people who write movies. People who write books. It's like all type of people. I said, but where you drawing from is different from where I draw from. You know what I'm saying? I draw from having an attention span. I grew up watching things where you had to pay attention. So give you some other things that people don't know. So if you watch just a series of Domino Effects, right? They don't know the homage that I'm paying in the Domino Effects. First one, I'm paying homage to Richard Pryor. That's why it's set in the 80s. And the filters on the lenses make it look like the 80s. Domino Effect 2, Alfred Hitchcock. That's why it's in black and white. You know what I'm saying? Domino Effect 3 and 4, Bill Cosby himself. That's why the background changes. Because in himself, Bill Cosby had these color boxes that would change when he was telling different stories. So what we did was we took the idea of how things started off on a bright day and then it got stormy. Mm-hmm. Then I went to prison, it was stormy, and then on the way out, it brightened up to where I am now. So paying homage just in the cinematography of how we're shooting a special. Most people won't catch it. In this one story from me being 10 to 25. So these are the things that set me apart from other people. When you put up the numbers for real, it gives you a better insight of like, oh no, nobody in comedy has ever even done it. A 4-part series about just their life. No, I'm bringing in politics, no current events. Nobody's ever done it. So to think of in history, when you do something that nobody has ever done in history, and then somebody compare you to something that's regular, you kind of like, okay. You may not get it.
You didn't get it.
You missed the whole thing. And then for me to come out of that to My Two Sons in Rugged. But in between that, you still got Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover. You got the PTA story. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of other specials in between those two, but I'm dropping 2 specials a year. Actually, really 3. That with none of the material off of the 9 albums that I have. Mm. So I'm like, you comparing me to who? And you comparing me based on what? But see, that's another thing that in this business, the woes of this business, that people judge you on something that you don't even want to be. Well, you're not in no sitcoms and no movies. Never wanted to be. 2 different muscles. You know, you don't go into a butcher and tell him he's not a surgeon. Or you don't tell a surgeon he's not a butcher. Both of them use knives. 2 different things. You won't to judge my comedy career by if I say somebody else's words or not. Because that's what a sitcom is. That's what a movie is. That's somebody else's words. But my words are not good enough for me to be a comic. Oh, okay. So then you move out of the comedy space and you become a storyteller. But then you still want to judge me as a comic. The masterpiece of what Domino Effect 1 through 4 is different. Mm. And I know it for facts it is.
Mm. It is different. And it's like hours of storytelling. It was one of the first things, actually, even as I started the process for this episode, was like, you were called the best storyteller on the planet. And I'm like, how often do you hear that said? I know you hate being called this, or now I know, comedian. But like, how often do you hear that said? The best storyteller on the planet. And it's like, over 40 million people have watched those stories, hours of storytelling. And you know what? We're gonna get into it, because I wanna cover just that arc and how you became the storyteller that you became and like mastered the craft. But one more thing on that season of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You end up going to prison 4 days after you turn 19. You end up going to prison.
Crazy.
And you know, I just want to like the contrast for people of you go from, you're sitting on $230,000, you're 19 years old, like by most people's metrics, at least from a financially success point of view, life's pretty good.
Yeah.
A few days later, you're in prison. Reflecting back on it for you, when is that moment when you actually feel the weight and the gravity of 15 years? Because I'm sure like those initial moments is just disbelief. You're like, okay, this isn't happening to me. When is that moment where you're sitting there and you're like, I really like fucked this up?
Oh, when I had to call my mom, because I was there for about 7-8 days before I called my mom, because trying to get the bond situation to get bonded out. But you, even though if you had the money, you still gotta get somebody to sign and put up collateral and all the rest of this. And then realizing that the bond, me bonding out, makes me guilty.
How did you get the money?
You ain't got no job. So you got so my attorney making me understand this. So you got a $250,000 bond that you can make
at 19.
At 19 with no job. Explain it, sir. Explain it. All right. Okay. So y'all want me to go to bond reduction to pretend like I don't have no bread to get out. So I got to call my mom, because my mom going to be looking for me. Even though I don't stay with her, she's still going to call. She's going to like, why he ain't dropped by the house? Why he ain't did anything? So having to reach out to my mom, and my mom come down there, and it's like, damn, this is crazy. And you just celebrated your birthday. Why you in here? I said, man. And I said to my mom, I said, man, they say I was selling drugs. She said, so what they say? What the hell is they say? I'm like, yeah, they said. And it was just a rude awakening when I'm sitting in there and I'm going to court, and I'm just trying to figure out what my move is, man. And it was no real moves to be made. Either you gonna tell on your team, can't do that part, or you gonna bite the bullet. I got it. I got what I'm gonna do. I got it. I'm gonna go to court 2 or 3 more times. I'm gonna try to get this time down to the least amount of time as possible. And I'm gonna sign first before everybody else sign. I'm gonna plead guilty and sign, because I know how this gonna go. Whoever signs first is gonna get the least amount of time. And then it's gonna go up from there. And it did. I signed for 15. Then it was a 20. It was a 25. It was a 30. It was a 35. It was a 40. So in my mind, I'm gonna do this 15, and I'm gonna be 33 when I get home. Damn. But they say you can get out on good time, good behavior, all the rest of this, things. But you start seeing people peel away once you plead guilty. Everybody's still there while you fighting your case, coming to court and this, that, and the third. But then they start to peel away once you sign, because they don't understand. You're going to be gone 15 years? Wow, it's crazy. Can't ask no teenage girl to wait for you for no 15 years. Mm-hmm. Only person that's in that courtroom that's going to wait is the person who just got sentenced with you. That's the other heartbreaking thing. When you doing whatever you doing in the streets, and it's somebody out there that love you, that stick by you, parents, siblings. You signed for that time. They gave me and my mama 15 years that day. Because it's not like she not going to worry. It's not like she not going to be concerned. It's not like she peeling away from me. My mama locked up with me. And the crazy thing is, she got to face the public ridicule. Hey, how your son doing? Hey, what's been going on with, man, how my nephew? Hey, I ain't seen your son in a while. Where he at? See, people don't think about those things when they in the streets doing whatever they doing. They oblivious to that part. The public embarrassment of an upstanding citizen that has to vouch for a criminal that she raised. And she didn't raise him like that. My mama ain't raised me like that. So I that's a blemish that I put on my mother that she don't deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the other part of destruction. I'm destroying my mama's character. I'm destroying my mom's upbringing of me, how she raised me, how she sacrificed me, everything she did. I'm just kicking that shit to the curb. You know how they say, people who, if you raised them right, they wouldn't be like that. My mama raised me right. I just fucking made a different decision. Part of the destruction.
Have you ever forgiven yourself for that? And the reason why I asked that is because I was watching Domino Effect Part 2. And I think a lot of people that were watching it might have missed this. Because right at the end of the special, it's like the credits are rolling. And you come back on screen. And what you said, you go, I get sentenced to 15 years. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, damn. My mom lost all of her kids in the same year. Like, I could feel the weight of those words watching it in my living room at home. And so that question of like, I can't even imagine what it was like for you. Have you forgiven yourself for that?
Never will. I abandoned my mom at the worst time in life. Lost my sister. My older sister is in the Navy, and then she lose her son to prison. Hell no. No matter what type of life I give her, that was still fucked up on my part. That was fucked up. All the way. Because I knew better. I compromised my mom's integrity for the fucking streets. And that shit was horrible. That shit was horrible. I left her by herself. That's some cold shit. As much as I would defend my mom, I would do anything for my mom. To leave her by herself at that time while she was going through the utmost pain, fucked up. Fucked up. Never will.
Yeah. Have you ever had a conversation with her about that?
Never will. Don't want her to relive it. I just pack it with the most joy that I can. I pack that wound with the most joy that I can possibly pack it with. So she don't even have to think about it. You know, that's a thing. Well, I hate that she asks me all the time. She asked me, was I a good mom? And I was like, yeah. But I know where it comes from. You know, I know that it comes from my mom being incomplete as a mother. That's the crazy. Because, you know, my sister's a genius, but the way my brain works is different from hers. I can fine tune, analyze something down to the most common denominator and make the point and find the point that's the most valid in the point. And my sister would get mad at my mom. I was like, hey, you gotta understand this. I know with your genius brain, you ain't really put it into practice with this. She had 2 kids early that she only took care of. She in survival mode. She took care of us. She made sure that we ate. She made sure that we was safe, and we made sure we had a roof over our head. Whatever her sacrifices were to do that, which I saw some of them. But when she had my little sister, she was in a way better condition where she could now raise a child. Cut short at 8. Never completed the job. So my mom, for me understanding, my mom is in a sort of purgatory in parenting. 2 successful kids that she took care of. But the one that she was raising when she was in the best condition of her life was called home. And there's nothing that she could have done about it. It was the Creator's will. But between the 2 of us, my mother has 15 grandkids. Just between me and my sister. That I watched the joy with her, but I watched the pain too. Because a lot of my kids look just like my little sister. So she got to get over that part. And then it's smooth sailing from there. But it's the initial thing of she's looking in the mirror. But yeah, that's a hard way to go, and that's another thing about me. I am very, very worried about my children until they get past 8. Because I think it'll happen to me. I'm talking about, I am very, very concerned. Like, it's a weight that is crazy to me. Like, I'm like, shit. I I just be pushing, just get past 8, just get past 8, get past 8. And I love them so hard because I'm thinking that may lose them. And understanding how that was so devastating for my mom on so many levels. But I broke it down so I can understand her more in this process.
Yeah. I heard you say that she was the love of your life.
Love of my life.
You know what? It was even as we start to like get into your time actually in prison, one of the things that I heard you talk about was like that first 2 years in prison. You said I was a wild man.
Mm-hmm.
I was fighting and doing all of the wild shit. But then something changed. How much of that first 2 years, again, we're talking in hindsight, but how much of that first 2 years do you think was fueled by this anger and this pain in your situation? Because at that point in your life, it's like everything is falling apart.
Yeah, all of it. All of it is contributed to. It almost scares me to think if my mom, whenever my mom passed, hopefully I'm old too. Hopefully I'm older and my mom lives a very long life. I would probably be back at that stage again, because my pop passed is different. You know, I love my pops, but for my mom to pass and me to say, I don't have anybody now to regulate me, to cut me off when, you know, because this is what I call and vent to. But without her being in place, it's kind of like that pin on a grenade. Hey, what this pin do? And you take it out and boom. As long as this pin is here, it is holding an explosion together. So when people say, well, you in beef with people, like, no, I'm not. Not at all. There's things I don't like. People had their words, I don't have my words. But that's because my mom is here. If they really want to see what it is, let the only person that can hold me accountable for anything, let her not be in place. Just going back to the only person on this planet that I love more than my mama was my little sister. Now she's not there. Man, I don't give a fuck about y'all. You ain't really seen. At the time, I remember one of my boys said, "Hey man, you know you like a cereal." And I said, yeah, I know. And he said, that was the only time I've ever been scared of you, was during that time. Because you was my friend. He said, but during that time, I don't give a fuck about you. So when I got locked up, I didn't give a fuck about them. Yo, man, what's up? Like, if you think that there's any sort of fucking type of fear in me, you are losing your fucking mind. I'm not scared of y'all. I'm not scared of these COs. I'm not scared of none of this shit, man. I don't give a damn. Prove whatever you saying. Prove it. Prove it. Cause I already know what I'm cut from. I already know what I'm capable of. Prove it. And my boy was like, yo, man, you had the deadest eyes during that time. Because there wasn't no joy in it. I didn't have nothing to lose. I said, well, people don't understand when you dealing with somebody who ain't got no consequences. I ain't got no fucking consequences. None. I don't believe in nothing. I don't love nobody. I'm good, bro. I'm just on this earth looking for whoever and whatever I have to destroy.
You know, I think about this because I think about there's someone, and obviously the context is different, but there's someone that is listening or watching at home that like they're in that moment. Like they're in that moment of the tears of rage where it's exactly what you said. It's very different when you're dealing with someone that has no fear of consequences, feels like they have nothing to lose. And that's a lot of the times the point in people's lives where it completely spirals out of control. And so I'm just curious, like I have to ask this, given everything that you've experienced and the wisdom that you have now sitting here, what would you have said to that version of Ali?
Use that energy and direct it in the right place. I never tell people not to get angry, but misplaced anger is the problem. Place it in the right direction. Case in point, everything I've ever accomplished since I've been out was based upon anger. Oh, you got to move to LA or New York in order to become a good comic. For what? A prophet is not welcome in his own home. Why not? Hey, CO, when I'm getting ready to leave, oh, you'll be back. You losing your fucking mind. Oh, man, you not good enough for this. Who? Me? Oh, man, I don't think that's going to work. Why I ain't ask you to fucking do it? You know what I'm saying? But I'll show you better than I can tell you. No, I don't think your special is that good. What? I don't think nothing special about you. Who? Okay. Okay. Nah, we choose this person over you. What? Oh man, you ain't making no money. Who? Me? All that was a log in the fire. All that was a log in the fire. Same people who said I wasn't good enough tried to sign me. No, I'm cool. Same officer said I return to prison, and like never in your fucking dreams. Same people you have to leave. You know what I'm saying? Houston never left. Never left. Industry has come here multiple times and did something with me. Whether it was NBC, whether it's HBO, whether it's Showtime, whether it's Comedy Central, they've all come here. I ain't went nowhere. People who said I wasn't this, I've surpassed them. Because of the anger, what you said that angered me, I placed it in the determination. Hey, be more determined, be more intentional, put more into it, versus allowing your ideology or whatever you thinking to cripple me. Or for me to think that, oh, I don't even think that people are supposed to help me with my purpose, because it's not their purpose. My purpose. I don't need you to believe in my purpose. I'm way past that. What do I need you to believe in my dream for? It's not your damn dream. It's my dream. And know that I hold you accountable for not believing in my dream. I hold you accountable for trying to derail. I hold you accountable for trying to be in the way, because that's not your job either. So yeah, I tell people, man, take that anger and take that however you feel about that, and put that towards the right direction. Because it's an energy. Anger's an energy. And you got to be able to bottle it and put it in the right direction. Not bottle it and stuff it down to where you combust, but bottle it and put it on this shelf with this where I'm trying to go, and open it over there. Don't open it towards the person, man. That ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Yeah. The anger is it's fuel.
Fuel.
The anger is fuel. You know what? It's and this was actually, because I want to get into your rise in comedy and that story and how it went.
Okay.
There was something, and this is actually one of the most interesting parts of the book to me, is you get out of prison and there's like this intensity that you pursue this dream in comedy with. And you talk about, you had 3 jobs. You're working at Moss Brothers, you were at Sunglass Hut.
Mosa.
Most Brothers, yeah. Mosa Brothers.
Yeah, it's called Mosa, men's apparel store.
Okay. You're working at Sunglass Hut, and then you're working, I think, with your auntie.
With my aunt, cleaning houses.
Yeah, cleaning houses. And so, talk to me about that. Like, what is that inspiration? And what is that intensity? I get the anger that's like fueling it. But the origins of this dream of like making it in comedy, but then also this like work ethic, because I feel like a lot of the times we hear stories of people that are successful and we hear, you know, that they're on stage or 40 million people watch, or the books and the sold out tours and all of this. We don't hear the story of when you first got out of prison, you're working 3 jobs.
This is going to be the simplest answer. You might well get another question ready. This is the simplest answer. This is how I saw it. I worked 6 years in prison for free. Hard. I can get out and work multiple jobs in order to achieve something. This is that whole path of putting all of my energy towards something good, serving people. The service. Everything that I'm doing is about service. You come in, I'm helping you find clothes. Come in, I'm helping you find shades. I'm helping you keep your house clean. Service. Starting at the lowest level and going up, because that's what you're going to have to do in stand-up. You're going to start as a open micer. I'm not trying to rise too fast. I got a whole philosophy behind what I'm doing. And I never say in the book that I'm turning down, because that's a part of the special that I'm getting ready to do. I'm turning down money that people owe me in the streets, that trying to bring me the money back while I'm working at these jobs. Won't accept it.
Was that difficult?
Because I started working on myself while I was locked up. So I had all these angles figured out. Now I just got to be faced with the angle. Because this the hardest part of getting out of prison is doing exactly what you said you was gonna do while you were inside. That's the hardest part. But I'm not going back to the streets. I'm not going back there and then somebody end up back in the streets. I'm not going back there and you end up using drugs again. I've curved all those appetites in order to be a regular person and be able to navigate the things that I need to navigate in order to achieve. I got to. If I don't, I'm a goner. Now I'm proving that man right. You'll be back.
That was in your mind, that person saying that to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. First log in the fire.
Yeah.
Prove him wrong.
You know, there was it was interesting actually. your first open mic night in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
I read that you were heckled at that.
I got booed. I wasn't no heckling. I got booed. Yeah, and it was because it was an Apollo night. You know, they was geared to booing people, and it's people rapping, singing, doing poetry, juggling, doing all type of things. And it was some gospel people that did some gospel songs, and people not gonna boo gospel songs. And the guy named Terry Gross was like, "Yo, man, y'all in there tripping. Y'all ain't booing nobody, man." It was saying, the next person to come to stage, they better not make it. And then I was the next person to come to stage. And so I walked out and I said, "Hey," and I had on a suit. It's basically a college night, and I think they really just booed the suit. They booed me, and I went and sat down, and I stayed in there. I stayed there and watched the rest of the show to just observe the audience. This is my first lesson in understanding an audience, who you in front of. Told you it's no handbook, in 1997, there's no guidance. It's like you just gotta learn. Came back 2 weeks later, jeans on, t-shirt, looking normal, kill. Come back the next week, kill. Come back the next week. Now people seeing me walk up and they like, "Yo, you going on stage tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going up there." "Oh, hell yeah, boy, you funny." So February, I became the co-host of that show. Starting December, all the way through December, all the way through January, February, Alice made me the co-host of that show with the same person who got me booed. And the same person who got me booed.
You know what? It's like, even just hearing that, because I'm like, your first show that you go to, because usually when we start something, when we start a business, or if I want to be an actor and I start going to rehearsals, or I'm doing music and I do my first live performance, in that stage of the craft, it's like we're building confidence. And so it's like you're on there with all of your confidence and all of your hopes, and then straight away it's like dashed.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing you speak about it, there's not even 1% of you that was like, "Oh, maybe this isn't for me."
Not 1%. Not even a half. It was, man, you gotta get it. You gotta learn. This is a part of the learning. What you learned tonight was more valuable than anything. Observation. Because you came in there with no observation skills. One of the number one things that you had in the streets. That's why they call you the sneaky assassin, because you could observe things and be like, "Hey, you see this over here? You see that over there?" Now you're not seeing anything because now you're in a new realm of life. Like, you have to be able to see it, bro. That's what I learned. And I was really giving myself the talk. I was giving myself the business. Like, "Yo, man, you came here with a suit on, you ain't read the room, you ain't do nothing." That's my whole thing. People walking by you, tap you on your shoulder. "Hey, man, better luck next time." You like, "Appreciate you." You know, but none of it is a deterrent at all. Like, y'all don't really understand. So one more person tap me and say, better luck next time. Good. Some girl come by, "Hey, you'll do better next time." "You sure right? I sure will. I sure will." And the same people, y'all will be fans before long. Because in my mind, I'm like, all right, this is, you learned. You just got to go from here.
I like that. You guys will be fans before long enough. You know what? Something you said this in the book. You said, in comedy, the initiation is proving you can live off your craft. You then went on to say, the problem is that shit is not possible for the average aspiring comedian. And it's interesting because I live in New York, and New York is kind of, so many people go to New York to like cut their teeth to become a comedian, right?
Mm-hmm.
and they do the comedy shows, and maybe they have their 9 to 5 job, but then at night or on a Thursday night, a Friday night, they're at the open mic. And it's like this, they toil with this decision of like, when can I go all in? When is my moment going to be? Was that a moment for you? Was that a decision for you? Was that a big thing, that when can I go all in?
No, because I asked somebody who was doing it, hey man, when do you quit your job? When comedy is making more money for you than your real job consistently. That's the main thing. Not that you had a paycheck, it was $1,000, and then you made $1,200 that month in comedy. But what's your bills? What's your life? But can you do that consistently? You know, that was the thing. How often can you do this? Because you're gonna have to pay your bills every month. Are you making more money doing stand-up consistently to sustain your life? Not the one $5,000 show that you had, and now you haven't worked again in a month and a half. $5,000 gone. Now, if you paying bills. So I asked. I was understanding as a student of comedy, 85% of my gigs are going to come from other comics, and 85% of my advice going to come from comics. You know what I'm saying? 85% of me doing good business is going to be with comics. So why not just ask? Get next to somebody who you know that doesn't have a job, that's doing stand-up, ask them, how are you doing this? Seems simple enough to me. Just ask. I asked Bruce. And Bruce was like, I used to work at Frito-Lay. And I'm like, solid. Got it. That's checked off. I stopped working for anybody in 1999. People don't realize how fast I was on Comic View. I taped my first season of Comic View in 99. I was it aired in 2000. So it is a thing how intense I was. Oh, I was coming to New York, doing the rooms in New York, getting a little $50 every room. In my mind, I'm like, okay, but I'm breaking it down like drug dealer math. Okay, I flew to New York. That cost me $350. I got a hotel for a week. That cost me $900. Now, what am I gonna do to make that money back and some more money, so this is not a total loss? And I still ain't ate yet. So you doing multiple rooms, you there for a week, you doing 3 or 4 rooms a night. Some paying $100, some paying $50, some paying $75. But you getting it done. You end up still $300 in the hole, but you made up a little ground, but you sacrificed that for exposure. So what happens with that? Now Rob Stapleton calls you and say, "Hey man, I got a gig for $500." Word, I'm there. Or I got a gig over here for $600. I'm there. But you got to put that work in. You got to go to the people. So then you leave New York and you go to Jersey for 2 weeks and do shows. You do the little triangle. You do Jersey, Connecticut, New York. Then you leave there and you go to Chicago and do Chicago, Detroit. And then Milwaukee. Then you leave there, you go down to Atlanta. You do about 3 or 4 rooms in Atlanta. Then you go to LA, make no fucking money. You just out there doing spots, getting your material stolen. Then you come home and then you figure out, I need to be able to make money at home. And then you figure that out. Hey man, a lot of colleges around here host them step shows. So you go from hosting a step show for $600 to hosting step shows for a minimum of $2,500. Minimum $2,500. Cause you turning a step show out. Yeah. How much it cost? $2,500. And then you rival with people who will say, I do for $400. You got to get past that obstacle and see, okay, cool, he undercutting me. But is he really undercutting me? Because even if you pay him $400, you're still not getting me.
He can't do what I can do.
You're not getting me. Hey man, either you want Hakeem Olajuwon or you want Rubiak or whoever the hell would be. It's like it's just how it work. Yeah. You gotta see the value in yourself. Who gives a damn about other people? You gotta see the value in yourself. And it takes a minute to get to that point in this business, because this business is about somebody else validating you. It takes a while to get to where you don't give a damn about other people's validation.
Yeah. You know what, you spoke about it actually in the book. You said, I reached a point I was very frustrated with stand-up. Being overlooked for certain gigs, shows, and tours was beginning to take its toll on me. I felt like I was better than other comics, but for whatever reason, no one was calling me. You know what? It's like, I think about, there's someone that's listening that's like in that moment, where the same way that you were doing, and I've been there myself, you're attacking your craft with so much intensity. Like if someone said, you need to go do this thing on the other side of the world tomorrow, Google, where's the ticket, book it, I'm there. You're doing whatever it takes. You're turning over every stone to get to that objective. And there's like this frustration that builds when you can't get, whether it's the callback, whether it's the opportunity, and it's easy for that frustration to turn into a resentment, right? Oh, they're holding me back, or they don't want to see me win. You remember the moment when things started to turn for you, the moment where it was like, you kind of saw that piece of light, that like crack in the door of, I think this is actually really going to happen. Like I'm on a whole different level now.
When I stopped judging where I was at based upon where other people was at. What's for you is for you. And when people start to judge themselves on, I was trying to, at that time, I'm still making money, but I'm not getting on shows I'm not being on these being called to be on these tours. I'm not called to be on this TV show, but I'm still making money. But I'm basing my status on what they're doing instead of what I'm doing. I'm looking at this, and it's kind of like, this is how I look at it. It's kind of like looking at people with jewelry on, and then you find out that it's fake jewelry, but you've been envious of their fake jewelry. This whole, oh man, I want to change this like that. I just want to change this. I want to make, cause it symbolize they making money, and woo, woo. And then you find out that it's fake jewelry. You find out that people have the illusion that they're bigger than they are. Because now you looking at that tour, oh, I would want to be on that tour. And that man making $300 every night. I want to be on Bad Boys of Comedy. But do you want to go on there and wear Sean John and be in a deal where he gets a percentage of what you make after you do the show, like he blew you up? You start looking at all the back things of what this is. Ali, why you not on Netflix? Because I don't want $200,000 for a special. What you want, $200,000, or you want to have $1 million, or you want $1.5 million, or you want 2.3 million, and you still own your stuff? The real thing, the piece of knowledge, you know, everything that they say, everything that glitz is not gold. True. 100%. 100%. I remember when my son asked, Daddy, why don't you have like a diamond necklace and this, that, and the third? I said, cool, get in the car. I'm going to ride to some places and I'm going to stop. And every place I stop, you write down the address. We get home. He has the addresses written down to multiple places. And he said, what are these addresses? I said, that's everything that you own when I die. I didn't spend your fortune on jewelry. You have a trust fund. Don't look at other people and think anything, because mass majority of people don't even know what they looking at when they see it. And so the next week I went on stage and I did this story, which is a small story. I said, in life, you're going to have to know what you actually want and what you actually like. It can't be based upon labels. It got to be based upon what you like. I say, because mass majority of people here don't know I have on a $600 sweater, but my skin knows. I've had on a $35 sweater before. This is $600. You wouldn't know it. Because some things are way above your head. But if I would have came out here and it had 2 G's on it, you like, oh, that's an expensive sweater. Because you're looking at the label. But this sweater is way more expensive.
Yeah. You know, I want to, there's 2 more moments from the book that I had to bring it up. It's 2 of my favorite moments. The first one is you have a certain level of success in what you call the Chitlin circuit. And there's this comedian that you know what, you can tell the story better than I can.
Rob Stapleton.
I
already know it. Rob Stapleton.
Get your ass in the middle.
Yeah, he called me and said, yo, man, get your ass out them Chitlin circuit rooms, bro. I'm like, what? I'm making a lot of money in them joints, man. He's like, mainstream, bro. You are that talented where multiple people need to hear you. They need to see you. You in the mainstream. He said, you're going to have to take a pay cut just because you finna kind of like start over, but it's going to be beneficial. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, Malik S calls and like, yo, DL wants a host for his show in Houston at the Houston Improv. I said, how much you pay? He said, $50. I said, what? He said, $50 a show. Man, I'm like making like $4,000 or $5,000 in a week. I'm not doing no fucking $50 a show. But then Rob Stapleton, hey man, I'm gonna have to take a pay cut. So I do the show. DL asked me to do the next weekend with him in Austin. It's 4 black people in the whole club. Me, DL, dude named Derek Keener, and one of the waiters. totally mainstream. I go up and I kill the club. So I go on the road with DL for a couple of years, off and on for a couple of years. And I think that was the groundwork of me learning class on a different level in the club. So how to interact with the management, how to interact with the owners, and having this class about myself when it comes to the clubs, and being a little more professional and refined. So that was aside from the money, which it wasn't that great. It was more of the toolage was the best part of that time. You know, and that's when I learned to have, if you're gonna have a mentor, make sure you have your mentor's number in your phone. You know, people can, I'm inspired by this person, but that you never really met, or you don't have a number where they can't really pour into you, you know, like they should. Like in the book is, once again, how this all happens is this. DL told me, hey, the funniest you're gonna ever be in life is based on how honest you want to be. Strict turn away from jokes to telling an honest story. Being mentored the whole way. Seeking guidance from those who doing what you say that you want to do. So that those are big moments for me. Rob Stapleton pouring into me, and because all the pieces coincide with each other. They're like they working hand in hand, and I'm getting them at the right time. I'm getting the right nourishment at the right time. Because Rob Stapleton saying what he says leads into DL saying what he says. And then Dick Gregory saying what he says and what Bill says. And all that is fueled by B.R. Burns saying what he said. You know, and Billy D. Washington's giving me what he said, and then Cheryl Underwood giving me the piece and showing gratitude based upon being with Mike Epps, and Mike Epps say, hey, I'm just grateful for the parts that I can hear based on listening to a CD of Tupac that was skipping. And it dawned on me, be grateful for the places that you are in at the time. If you grateful and have gratitude, then you'll get more. But if you're not if you being ungrateful for this portion, then why give you more of you being ungrateful here? If you eat beans and rice, eventually you eat beans, rice, and steak. Beans, rice, and chicken. But if you're ungrateful for the beans and rice,
You know, I want to put this into perspective for people, because it was even an education for me in reading about it. You go from killing it on the Chitlin circuit, and for context, that's a majority like black audience. Small
venues, black audiences, you know.
Some of the, and I think I even heard you say this, some of the toughest crowds to get a laugh from them. You go from that to performing in front of audiences, like you mentioned, there's only 4 black people in the crowd. 4 black people in the room.
The whole club.
And so I guess, because I'm sure that this is, sometimes these moments of transition in our life can be challenging and intimidating. Is there, you mentioned that you killed it in these sets that you did, but is there even a bit of fear, of intimidation, of like challenge, of needle in, sure, this is a majority white audience now. Like, is this going to translate? Like, is it going to work the same way? Like, am I going to be able to make it here?
I was in prison doing funny stories and saying funny stuff in front of people who had nothing to laugh about. No. That was the thing. Homing my craft inside. Everything with me started what I was going to be about inside, and then I came to the world with the plan. I just had to execute it. So nah. When you walk into a day room and everybody in there frowning, and you say, I don't know what y'all frowning for, ain't nobody going home today. And they bust out laughing because they know what you saying is true, even though it's irritating to hear. Hey man, y'all gotta live in the moment, bro. All this frowning, what you and pointing out people, what you frowning for? Oh man, I don't feel like playing today. Well, guess what? I don't feel like being locked up either, but guess what? We're here. So it's the navigating through what you got to go through. Is I felt like I was just ready. Whatever the challenges was, whatever the roads are, I'm cool. Whatever the road may be.
You know what? Here's where I want to end. Because there's this part in the book, and like one of your idols, one of the people that for you it's like you even mentioned that a lot of your comedy, and even just kind of like studying some of his sets, and I can see you smiling. Obviously, I'm talking about Dick Gregory, and you end up going on like a 4-show like tour with him, and during one of those shows, like after one of those shows, he kind of singles you out and he says something to you. I'm not going to read out what he says to you, but your reaction to what he says to you, you said, sadly, that prison shit was still in me. All of the anger, the rage, the impatience, and intolerance was woven into the fabric of my being. You then go on to say, while I was physically free, I was still mentally chained. And so here's where I wanted to end, because I just think about everything that we've shared in this conversation, everything that we've spoken about, from like where you started to getting caught up in like the street life, the effect that had on your family, on your mother, on your father, going to prison, the things that you achieved after going to prison, the accolades that you've achieved in comedy and as being a storyteller, sold out shows, over 40 million people have watched your specials. You're doing another special shortly. But still, after that experience with Dick Gregory, you said, while I was physically free, I was still mentally chained. So Ali Siddiq, as we sit here now in 2025, are you still mentally chained?
Chains are broken. Very happy space. Very happy man, and the chain is broken by the ability for me to be able to share. Because as most people experience at some point with me, I'm very closed off. I don't give nothing. And most people in the interview, if somebody talk about anybody with me about interviews, they was like, yo, he walked in, he ain't say nothing. And then the interview started. And the shit was the best interview I ever had with somebody who just walked in and was like, nothing. And I always say, because I didn't come in to perform. You came in to interview me. The interview starts when the camera comes on. I'm acceptance of that. That's who I am. And I used to not be comfortable with talking about nothing. The whole interview would be me. Yeah. No, not really. Because I didn't want to give no parts of me. So me finally listening and being a little more cured in myself. Like I'm cured from all of that other stuff, so I can be totally free to say this, that, and the third and be okay with it. So yeah, broke them chains with just curing myself.
Ali Siddiq, thank you so much, man.
Pleasure.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, you're going to absolutely love what we did with this one right here. Click here.